welcome to Board Game Basics, episode number 17. I'm Patrick.
And I'm Robert.
Each episode we'll try and talk about a board game and a card game. Hosting for this episode is provided by Gameology, Australia's largest gaming warehouse. So we got
Thank you to Gameology.
Today, thank you to Gameology. So today we're going to talk about Risk.
Yeah.
And Parker Brothers, which is the company that made Risk.
It is. So, just for something different, we did all card games last week because we talked about the Japanese boys when we were in Japan. So we thought we would do Risk. And that, how's the week been so far?
Good.
It's busy, it's getting to Christmas, there's lots of things happening. We're late recording this episode.
I was helping and do some decorations.
Yeah, so there's been a lot happening. Oh, and we took out our old American car yesterday for the first time. Yeah, our Oldsmobile, which is so beautiful.
You got the Corvette still.
We have.
And you got your Cobra that you're making.
That'll never happen. Okay, so should we get on to Risk?
Yeah.
Alright.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about Risk. Risk says it's the World Continuous Games, ages 10 to adult, 2 to 6 players.
The World Conquest game. You're shortcutting the words.
I thought it said continuous. Takes 120 minutes. We played it in like 3 hours.
No. 2 years ago, when you were 7...
Didn't we get up straight away in the morning?
4 hours.
Straight away, we got up in the morning. I'm like, running into your room saying, you said we could play Risk, so let's play it.
I know, and it was winter, 4 hours, and your emotions were up and down. It was a long 4 hours. And we haven't played it again since.
I want to play it again.
Yeah, well... that was so long. Okay, it says 10 plus, but the community says 8. It says it's best with 4, whereas we were only playing with 2.
No, we were playing with 3.
Oh, but Mum, she got out of it after the second hour. And the weight was 2.1.
She said I could replace all of mine with hers.
I know, we probably should pull this out one day with our game group, hey?
Yeah.
So if we go to the Wikipedia page and just read a little bit from there... It says that Risk is a strategy board game of diplomacy, conflict and conquest for 2 to 6 players. The standard version is played on a map depicting a political map of the Earth divided into 42 territories, which are grouped into 6 continents. Turn rotates among players who control armies of players playing pieces with which they attempt to capture the territories from other players, with results determined by dice rolls. Players may form and dissolve alliances during the course of the game. The goal of the game is to occupy every territory on the board and in doing so, eliminate the other players. Anyway, the game can be lengthy, requiring several hours to multiple days to finish. It's like, Gloomhaven, where you can leave it on the table and come back to it the next day. You can come back
in a month and it's...
and we do have secret missions to shorten the game.
We don't do that one though.
No, we haven't. But don't you think that after our 4-hour game we should be doing this one? Yes. If we play again, we're going to do the secret mission.
No, that ruins the whole
3 to
game.
6. No, or
2 people.
Capital Risk. The other one they put in the rule book there.
Let's just play normal Risk on 2 players next time.
It's gone on to be one of the most popular board games in history. War game board games in history. And yet, only on BGG, what was it? It was only rating at 5.6. I mean, I know we've only given it a 5 because we've moved on to other games from this. And I was just reading on BGG this morning that someone asked about their kids had quit playing Risk and what do you do? And I was like, I wouldn't be doing too much. Have a chat, some food. We had to sit you down, have a food. And then we finished off the game. I think it ended in a draw after 4 hours. But
yes, because neither of us were anywhere near
getting it done.
And I was slowly getting towards you.
Yes, and it was a long day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know what the answer to that one is.
Can I talk about the miniatures?
Well, I was just going to talk about the history, but do you want me to read the history bit? Because I'd like you to. You want to talk about it. Okay, so Risk was invented by the French film director Albert Lamorose, if that's said right. And it was originally released in 1957 as The Conquest of the World in France. It was bought by Parker Brothers and released in 1959 with
The brand
some...
we're talking about today.
Yes, the game makers. With some mods to the rules. And then it became eventually the Risk, the game of global domination. So following introduction, the first new version of Risk in nearly 20 years was released in 1986, and it was called Castle Risk. It featured a map depicting 18th century European castles instead of a map of the world.
I think we got the one that was
we've got the original one.
We've got the original one.
That one was a
looks like it's
bit of a flop.
Crack in half.
Yeah, well, that's because it's old and it's so big. Anyway, we'll get to that now.
And really fun.
So then again, they tried again 15 years later in 93 with the rules for the secret mission Risk, which had been standard in Europe, and they were added to the US edition after a limited edition release in 99 in France called Risk Napoleon, in commemoration of 200th anniversary of the Napoleonic era. And then a new edition called Risk 2210 AD was published in 2001 by Hasbro's Avalon Hill division. And that was a futuristic themed one.
A few companies have been making copies of this game.
I think Hasbro you'll discover when we talk about Parker Brothers, bought out Parker Brothers. Anyway, there's been lots of different theme Risks like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah, I saw that one.
Oh, they mentioned Transformers here as another one as well. And now they have Risk Legacy, which was one of the first legacy games, the first legacy game that came out and changed the way you play. Although the game, I think, is still the same.
Awful doing that. That would take like 4 hours.
How would we
playing it like 12 times, and you'd never get to play it.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't. I've like not looked at that at all.
Don't want to get it because the legacy fact about it might make it take even longer.
Yes, that doesn't excite you or me. So did you want to talk about the pieces?
Oh, so these are the pieces. So you get to choose one of the 6 colours. There's black, grey, yellow, blue, red, and green.
Right. Yep.
I've just grabbed a few green ones out right now.
Yeah. They come in their own little tin, which is good in ours.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if they all come like that, but.
And the lid of the plastic bit actually says Risk on top. You've like your let's say
the
like
container, it's
40 characters in there.
I'm not sure. You keep talking and I can find out.
It says 360 miniatures. Contains 360 miniatures.
Oh, between
so
all
it's
of them.
really just 360 divided by 6.
Which is how much?
No idea.
Come on, you're good at maths.
I don't know. I haven't divided from that high.
Oh. What about 6 sixes?
6 sixes?
What is that? Hello.
I need a while to remember.
Anyway.
Alright, so the miniatures. So if you look at the miniatures, like you got your normal soldiers, they just stand around.
Yep, so they're called the infantry.
Infantry like in Australia.
Yes. Or in real wars where the infantry are the soldiers that walk out. Yep, keep going.
And they're like kneeling down, holding it.
Yep, and then the next one.
I wonder what they would look like painted like that. The next one, that one's worth 1 person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going up in person order.
Okay.
How many they're worth. And then you got the horse one. On the front of the rule book, it looks like and also on the top of the box, it looks like the horse is freaked out.
Yeah, he's about to go into battle. Yep, keep going.
And then they've got the soldier with his sword on top.
Yep. Well, that's the cavalry.
Yep.
That's 5 armies.
Yep, that's 5.
Okay.
And it's actually really detailed as well. Like, it looks like a flamingo, like putting one knee on. If you look at it a certain side, it does.
They're only small, but they're really cool
Yeah,
little
but
pieces.
if you look at it on the other side, it doesn't look like that.
And
And
the
then the
final one?
last one, which is my favourite, which I always want to put out, but you say you shouldn't be putting those out all the time, because then if they get killed, you got to change it into a 5 and a 4 if it's 1. If you lose 1.
Well, it depends, yes.
So
How do you remember all this? Keep going.
I just checked out the rule books. And so it's got these really cool wheels on it.
There's
And
a
it's
little
got like
cannon that you...
it got like this little wheel stop on the front of it. Like a little stop that stops the wheels from going too far.
Yeah, as if it was rolling.
Yeah,
Now,
and it
can I just
sits
ask you a
there like
question?
that.
If you look inside the game box, right? So if you take that...
And the cannon has this bit that lays down on the ground. And that's really all and that one's worth 10 people.
Yep. Now, if you look at the box, that is a massive box for what is basically 6 little containers and a board. If they made this board that it could flip in half, it would all fit in a box like tiny. I wish they would do that. Maybe they do now. No, I don't think
then
they
they
do.
would struggle to fold it in half because it's already folded in thirds.
Yeah, but you just make it differently. They could do that. But so that's really frustrating that it's such a big box, especially now with all the way they design game boxes all to fit. They're easy to store. The old Monopoly style way of doing it. Now,
Can I just keep saying something? I've got some things about the dice in here. So there are 3 red dice, which are your attacking dice. I'm pretty sure.
oh, okay.
Because I looked in there and there was red and white. I'm guessing that white was defender and red was attacker, because you would have more if you're attacking than defending.
Okay.
So there's 2 white for defending, I'm pretty sure, and 3 red for attacking.
Yeah, but you don't always get that many. So what happens when you're attacking?
And they're all 6-sided dice.
Yeah, that's right.
And if you beat the other person on one of your dice,
Mm-hmm.
they've got to take away one of their armies.
Yeah, you can never lose more than 2 on a single roll. Now, just how about we go to the rule book here quickly and we just talk for a sec. So it just says, on your turn, try to capture territories by defeating your opponent's armies. But be careful, winning battles will depend on careful planning, quick decisions and bold moves. At any time during the game, you can trade infantry pieces for the equivalent in cavalry or artillery, so none of those things really matter. Each turn, you get 3 steps in this order. You get and place new armies, attack, if you choose to, by rolling the dice, and then fortify your position by moving your armies. You know, like if you've got all the bottom of Australia, and you can have your defence line up further.
I normally have... Well, the only time we've played it was... when you said it took 4 hours.
Yeah.
I took Egypt, all of Australia, and like Papua New Guinea and that.
Mm.
So then no one could get in without having
Was it
to
Egypt?
attack
Yeah,
them.
you blocked us out. I know.
And I was blocking you out of.
I like
the other-
Australia down the bottom there and try and get really strong, but I couldn't.
But you can't actually get in there very easily.
Okay, so now getting your armies. At the beginning of each turn, you calculate how many new armies you'll add to your territories based on 1. The number of territories that you occupy.
So if you occupy 5.
Well, if you have
You'll have
11
5.
territories, it's 3 armies.
Huh?
The value of the continents you control. And the value of the match sets of risk cards you trade in. Remember how you collect the cards and you trade them in.
Wait.
And also the specific territory pictured on a traded in card. So at the beginning of every turn, count the number of territories you currently occupy, and then divide the total by 3. Ignore any fractions and stuff. The answer is the number of armies you receive. And then you place the new armies on any territory you occupy. So you start then spreading out.
That's what I like.
You always
trying
get at
to
least
get
3 armies.
like as many as I can on the one territory, because when you move them, you've got to actually. You want to leave some in that territory that you've got there.
Yeah.
So then you just start moving them out. Or you have a territory that's connected to that one. And as you move them out of that one, you pull them into there. And once you summon them in
Yeah,
the one
that's
that
right.
you
Summon.
start
Hold on,
off.
what game are we playing?
You spawn them in there or whatever.
Oh, hold on, we're spawning people now, are we? Hold on, is this Gloomhaven or?
No. Or just put your person there and then move it out.
Oh, right, okay. No, that's funny just hearing the way you're talking. Continents. In
Not
addition...
used to saying place, normally used to saying summon or something.
Yeah, that's
Because
right.
Gloomhaven summons things
And the other
everywhere.
games. So at the beginning of your turn, you receive armies for each continent you control. To control a continent, you must occupy all of the territories at the start of your turn. So the purple, I think it is, that's Australia
It's
at the
Australia,
bottom. But it's
and
it's
Papua New
Australia.
Guinea.
Yeah, and they've got Papua New Guinea in it as well, and something else, I think.
I think they have Indonesia as well.
So to find the exact number of armies you receive for each continent, look at the chart on the game board that's on there.
Yeah,
and
I
that
saw
tells
that.
you how
Australia,
many.
you only get 2.
Yeah, it's a lower one because you've got a good... Yeah, they can't attack you from all sides. I'm guessing that's why they do it. So, risk card.
maybe.
So at the end of any turn in which you capture at least one territory, you earn one only risk card. And you're trying to collect sets of 3. So you can either get 3 of the same cavalry, infantry, or artillery, 1 of each, or any 2 plus a wild, which has the 3 symbols on it. If you've collected a set of 3, you may then turn them in at the beginning of your next turn, or you can wait. But if you have 5 or 6 cards at the beginning of your turn, you must trade in at least 1 set. You can trade your cards in for armies. A player can then change the cards for additional troops. And so 3 infantry is for 4. 1 of each is 10. So that's what you'd like to get 1 of each, but it's not always that easy.
I like getting
10.
the cannons. I'm like,
Oh,
I want
I
to
know.
put this cannon out, but then you're like, nah, it's a bit risky because you can lose them pretty easily.
Well, then you've got them all in one spot. You might want to diversify and have them all.
Well, I like spreading
spread
them
out.
out once I've got them in there.
Okay, so then we've got your men on the board and women. Now I've got to attack. So after you place your armies,
Soldiers.
you decide if you want to attack. And the object of the attack is to capture a territory by defeating all the opposing armies that are already on it. And battle is fought when you're rolling the dice. You study the board. Do I want to battle you or not?
Well, you got to actually be in the same territory. You got to move into their territory to battle them. I'm
And then
pretty sure.
if I'm not going to battle you, I can just move on, move my players, and end of my turn. Sounds quick, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But if I'm going to attack, there are some rules you got to follow. I'll grab. What does it say? You may only attack a territory that's adjacent or touching to one of your own. So you have to be.
What if you're in it? What if you moved your people into it the turn before? And they're in there.
Can you?
I wonder
can't
if
do
you
that.
actually could do that.
You must always have at least 2 armies in the territory you're attacking from, because you need to roll 2 dice. And you can continue attacking one army until you've eliminated all of them on it. Or you may shift from that one. Oh, I'm going to move from attacking Mum to attacking you.
I
or
normally attack you.
So first you announce that you're going to attack. Then you roll dice against the opponent who occupies the opposing territory. So I'm attacking you, right? I need to get that off of you. I want one of those cards and I want to get rid of some of your armies. So before we roll, both myself and you have to announce the number of dice that we intend to roll, and we both roll at the same time.
4.
As the attacker, so I would roll either 1, 2, or 3 red dice, and you have to have at least 1 more army in your territory than the number of dice you roll. So if I've only got 2 armies, I can only roll 1 dice.
That would stink.
And the more dice that I am able to roll with, the better that the odds are that I will win. Like mathematically, if you were to roll dice over and over and over again, the chances, so the probability of getting the numbers I need is much higher with the more dice.
Well, it really isn't like just rolling the same dice over and over. It's rolling 3 dice at once. And like, say you get all 6s on them, there's no way you cannot win.
Yeah, well.
Unless the defender rolls 2 6s.
So, okay, so then the defender will either roll the 1 or 2 white dice. To roll 2, they have to have at least 2 armies on the territory under attack. And again, the more dice the defender rolls, the greater the odds of winning the chance, but also the more chance you can lose. Because if you beat me on 3 dice, then they have a few examples here. The highest attacker's dice beats the only single defender's dice, blah, blah, blah. In the case of a tie, defender always wins, like most games.
Like, because
And the
Is also
attacker
an
can never lose
example.
more than 2 on a single roll.
And like the defend. So that's what I said. Like if you roll 6s, and then the other person rolls 6s, which is the defender. The defender will take your people.
I know. Well, don't remind me about this.
I'm not.
So as soon as you defeat an opposing army or a territory, you capture that territory, and you've got to occupy it. You have to move someone in, so you have to move in at least as many as the number of dice that you've rolled.
So you could put 3 in.
And then they give also in most cases, moving as many armies as you can to the front is advantageous because armies left behind can't help when you are attacking. Also remember you must always leave at least 1 army behind on the territory you attacked from. During the game, every territory must always be occupied by at least 1 army.
So you could put 1 person in every square that you've been through.
Yeah, well that's what
and
you
then
had.
no one can attack you.
Well, not if you have your big heavy line of fortified workers at the top of Australia. I can't get down to the bottom because nothing's joined.
Like you could have all your 1 people around the top defending the top, and then have all your big groups of people in the back.
Well, that's the idea.
Ready to move out of your territory.
The only thing is, as
and
the
stay
game goes
there
on,
and get that, and then they can't getting in there.
yeah, as the game goes on, and you keep getting armies. If you're not attacking, you get up. I've got heaps of armies. You got heaps of armies, and it's a big battle.
I think at one point there was nothing in my container.
Remember, this is a game we played 2 years ago, and you remember it like it was just yesterday.
I'm pretty sure
That's so
at
cool.
one point I had nothing in my container.
Okay, so then you can end your attack at any time. If you've captured at least 1 territory, take a risk card from the top pile. Doesn't matter how many any places you've taken. And then you fortify your position wherever you want. If during your turn you eliminate an opponent by defeating their last army, you win any cards that they've collected. If winning them gives you 6 or more cards, you immediately trade, blah, blah, blah. Fortifying your position, whatever you've done on your turn, you can always do that. The winner is the first player to eliminate every opponent by capturing all 42 territories on the board.
Why can't it? I thought
Unless
that would
we
be
do-
pretty hard. Like, you know how I said, like, keep, 2 big territories as your bank of people, and then, just move 1 at a time
Yeah, but
out.
then 1 or 2 can't really take over.
No, but then no one can take over your area and you'll win
Yeah, well
quickly.
that's true, but no.
And then you, move up 5 in there, where your enemy is, and then you defeat that, and then you just put 1 there. And then if
Yeah,
there's
that might be
no one
slow.
around, you put 1 there, and then you just beat them.
So they've given us a couple of examples of the modified games here. So Capital Risk, which is for a shorter world domination game, based on the rules we just talked about. But the object of the game is to capture all the opposing headquarters while you still control your own. And then you can shorten the game even further with 4 players to capture any 2 opposing headquarters. Or if it's 5 or 6, you could go for 3 opposing headquarters because obviously there's more in the game.
I don't like the sound of that.
You just remove the secret mission cards for that one. Now, also then there's the secret mission risk, which is for 3 to 6. Object of the game is to be the first player to complete the mission described on your own mission card. Suitable for 3 to 6. Equipment, use all the same
I only want to play the
equipment plus
normal.
the mission
I
cards.
only want to play the normal risk, not any of them to shorten the game. Okay? Oh, gee.
You just want to keep playing it forever and ever. But we're
Yeah.
getting so many other cool games.
Yeah.
Haven't we gone, we don't want to play this?
Nuh-uh.
Would you rather play Ticket to Ride, though? You're really at the point where you want to give this a game, though, aren't you? I'm seeing that twinkle in your eye talking about it. We need to call Dave over to play one night, hey?
And we're not playing one of the different ones.
And also, we never talked about the initial army placement at the start of the game. So you select your colour. Depending on the number of players, you count out the armies you need to start playing the game. So if 2 are playing, you see special instructions on the 11th page. But if 3 are playing, each player gets 35 infantry. And if 4, each player gets 30. Down to 6, each gets 20. And
Why can't you have all your people?
you roll a die. Whoever rolls the highest number takes 1 piece, places it on a territory on the board, claiming that territory. So you like to get Australia, and then I go.
No,
I
I always start off in Australia.
Yeah, I know.
I always start off in the purple area in Egypt, because then I can build out in Africa really
Egypt.
easily.
And does it go?
South Africa,
Oh right, yeah,
really easily.
yeah.
Because like you just go, pow pow pow.
No, it
'cause
doesn't.
No
No,
one
it
really
connects
comes
to
in
Asia.
there.
I thought you connects to
No,
Asia. Now.
no one really comes in there, and it doesn't connect anywhere. There's only one. There's only one route in towards Australia,
Yeah, which is good.
which is from Asia.
It's good for you because you feel
In-
protected, but then you can't get out.
No, I can. I get out easily because there's like 1,000 routes leading out.
No, once you get to the green, you can get out. Once you get to Europe and Asia.
And the only route into there is in SIAM.
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 But yeah, the thing is that then you're only picking up 2 armies. Where if I go out and claim Asia, or if I claim North America away from you, I'm getting 5 armies.
That's
but
where you
I need to
always
put more
start
out.
for some reason, and then Mummy starts over here
Yeah, I know.
in Asia.
Maybe we could get it out and have a game sometime. I don't know.
Don't put the board there.
It's not something that excites me just because it's been time now. What
I'm
got
looking
me?
at this board, and it's nearly as big. It's as big as your chair.
Yeah, thanks.
It's massive.
I remember buying this game and on PlayStation way back in the day because I was
You
like,
did?
yes, I don't need anyone to play with me. And
That's really good.
it was
then.
cool on PlayStation, but it's just not the same. It was not the same playing on the computer as playing on a board.
It's way better doing it.
Less argument, so.
It's way better doing it on a board, though.
All right, well, I reckon we've probably talked about Risk for all that we really need to talk about it.
Almost 30 minutes. Normally, how much we do our own whole episode for.
Now, if anything, that's made me think, well, we got to play this one day.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to add?
How about our ratings?
Oh yeah, what do you rate this game at? I'm
What do
just
you?
gonna. I've put it on 5 on our BGG just because
Naughty.
I haven't had overly great experiences, and I'm probably rating other games much higher. But what about you? You're gonna say 7 after your what?
9.
You're not gonna give it a 9.
Yes.
Wait until you've played it another time and see what you give it.
This
now
is
that
just
you're
making
older.
me want to play it
I
even
know.
more.
As soon as we get games out, you just want to play them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about Parker Brothers. I was about to say it's a game for however many people because I'm used to saying that.
Yes,
Not-
but no. So
not
we're going to
Pizza
read some
Company.
off of
So this is actually
Wikipedia.
who made Risk and a whole heap of other games that we've got.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you can
Like
start.
Trivial Pursuit and stuff like that. So, for the American
Oh no, don't worry about
No,
that
don't
bit.
worry.
We'll just go from Pokemon.
Parker Brothers was an American toy and game manufacturer, which later became a brand of Hasbro. More than 1,800 games were published under the Parker Brothers name since 1883, which is when this was.
No, that was 1983.
Except
100
this,
years out.
this was still put on.
Yeah.
Among the products were Monopoly, Cluedo,
Yep. Sorry.
Risk, Trivial Pursuit.
Oh, I don't know those ones. Bop It. Probe. Okay, keep going here.
The trade name became,
Defunct.
with former products being marked under the Hasbro gaming label. However, in 2017,
Yeah, you were right. Yeah.
last year,
Yeah.
Hasbro
Revived.
revived the brand with the release of several new games which bear
Similarities.
similarities with those of some of its.
Previous better known products.
It's hard to read when we've
And
got it
I'm
all
holding
the
over
way
here.
out there.
Yeah, sorry. We should do that. We need to get 2 of these laptops. So Parker Brothers was founded by George S. Parker. Parker's philosophy deviated from the prevalent theme of board game design. He believed that games should be played for enjoyment and did not need to emphasize morals and values. He created his first game, called Banking, in 1883 when he was 16. Whew. Banking is a game in which players borrowed money from the bank and tried to generate wealth by guessing how well they could do. The game included 160 cards, which foretold their failures or successes. The game was so popular among family and friends that his brother, Charles Parker, urged him to publish it. George approached 2 Boston publishers with the idea, but was unsuccessful. Not discouraged, he spent $40 to publish 500 sets of banking. He eventually sold all but 12 copies, making a profit of $100. That's a lot of money. And he only spent 40, so he, better than
that's better than
made his money.
Making 20. And you're not getting...
Parker founded his game company, initially called the George S. Parker Company, in his hometown of Massachusetts in 1883. When George's brother Charles joined the business in 1888, that's the year of Jack the Ripper. Anyway, company's name was changed to its more familiar form. In 1898, a third brother, Edward H. Parker, joined the company. For many years, George designed most of the games himself and wrote all the rules. Many games were based on important events of the day. There was one called Klondike, which was based on the Alaskan Gold Rush, which there's a TV show now called Klondike Fever where they talk about the mining. The game industry was growing and the company was becoming very profitable. In 1906, Parker Brothers published the game Rook, their most successful card game to this day. Oh, yeah. During the Great Depression, a time when many companies went out of business, Parker Brothers released a new board game called Monopoly, which we've talked about in another episode when we talked about
it.
Although they'd originally rejected the game, they decided to publish it. And it was a success and had difficulty keeping up with the demand, and the company grew over the next several decades with games like Cluedo and Risk and Sorry. It marketed its first puzzle in 1887. The most highly sought of Parker puzzles are the wooden Parker Pastimes. Parker also produced children's puzzles.
When it first said sorry, I thought it was saying sorry for something that it said on the
Oh,
yeah, I didn't know that was a
game. Yeah,
I didn't even know that was an actual game.
You'll have to look it up when we're at the shops one day. So even after George Parker's death, the company remained family-owned until 1968, when General Mills purchased the company. After this, Parker Brothers produced the first Nerf ball, which became another major national hit. In the UK during the 1970s, Parker Brothers was the game division of Palitoy, which was another one of their companies, and produced a variety of releases such as Escape from Coldiers. By the turn of the decade, the company relocated to Massachusetts, and the company began to produce electronic versions of their popular board games in the 70s and 80s. At this time,
some electronic ones.
Yeah, not of theirs though.
No,
At this time, the company ventured into the toy market with the electronic action figure, Rom the Space Knight. Never heard of it. And that was in 1977. And although the toy proved a failure, the licensed comic book published by Marvel Comics ran for years after the toy was discontinued. They also produced video games for various systems during the 1980s. Popeye, Frogger, with home ports, the first video games based on Star Wars movies, such as that and more. So I didn't realise they were into the video games.
I just thought they were board games.
In early 1983, Parker Brothers spent $15 million US establishing a book publishing branch. Their first titles were Care Bears, Strawberry Shortcake, things I remember growing up with because of my sisters. The branch published 12 titles by February the next year, and the sales totaled 3.5 million units. Parker Brothers also operated a record label around the same time. One of its releases was based on the Cabbage Patch Kids. In 1985, General Mills merged the company with their subsidiary company Kenner. The new company, Kenner Parker Toys, was acquired by Tonka in 1987.
They do a few different things than just board games.
Yeah, I know. Who would have thought? Tonka, including Parker Brothers, was bought in 1991 for about $516 million by Hasbro.
That's a lot of money.
And they also own Milton Bradley Company, which is the other board game company for mass market games. Then after that, the Parker Brothers continued to have its corporate offices in Beverly, but the production of the games was moved to Milton Bradley's headquarters in East Longmeadow. In 1998, Parker Brothers and Milton Bradley were consolidated at the new Hasbro Games campus based in Parker Brothers' former headquarters. So just that was off of Wikipedia, which
There's
that's
probably
awesome.
way more on Wikipedia that we don't need.
Yeah, and there's lots of references there that you can go and check out if it's something that interests you. But what a history! Who would have thought? That,
We don't
I
wanna
didn't know
do-
there were three
But we
brothers.
don't want to be sitting here reading it for ages. I thought it was all of the brothers just
Made games.
made games. Didn't even think it would be one, then another, and then another. And when I thought you were about to say there was going to be another one come in,
But that's 100. That's 140 years ago. That's amazing. And the name is still used. Not so much now, maybe. Although they did say in 2017 they revived the brand again. So anyway, I thought that was interesting and something that we probably don't all know
we
about.
need to talk about other brands now because this has such an interesting history.
Story. And it's only
Now
a short
all of
history.
the other ones will have a whole heap of interesting history.
Something else I thought I would research. I might even just Wikipedia it one day
I
when
saw
we're going
they
to
had
talk.
Milton
Was
Bradley up.
zombies. And where did zombies come from? Where did the idea of zombies come from? Anyway, we'll talk about that another time. Okay. Anyway, that was Parker Brothers. A quick little summation from Wikipedia.
More like long.
Okay, well, we better get going. We better wrap this up. We're going to get to Mika's
So thanks
concert
to
for the year.
Gameology.
Australia's largest gaming warehouse. Thank you for the support, the hosting. And
I've really
Email
enjoyed having them helping
help us out. Yeah. There's email us, boardgamebasicspodcast@outlook.com.
Outlook.com.
It's in the show notes. We got Twitter, boardgamebasic1 at boardgamebasic1. And please share us.
It's BG.
Email us.
It's BGB at BoardGameBasic1.
Yep.
Capital B for board.
That's right. We would love to hear any feedback you might have. You might have a question. You've got a game you might want us to talk about. Or how about you
Or
just
a game that
email
you
us.
might want us to buy and talk about.
Yeah, let us know your top 3 games. It's coming up to Christmas. Our challenge hasn't gone so well. We haven't completed as many games of our challenge as we
And we're
wanted.
also one email off our
Giving away Scrabble,
giving
yes.
away. We need one more, and then we've got 10 emails.
So
And maybe even more listeners than 10.
we got to actually go through our challenge and see if we can get a few more ticked off. But
It's hard to get them ticked
I
off because
know.
most of them take a while.
We're long. We better get this out of here. We got to go. Also, in
We
January
need
we
to
hopefully
finish
have the
up.
game with
We
Caitlin.
need to
We'll get
finish
to
up. We
do
need
Cluedo
to-
and whatever else you want to Spyfall.
I thought she wanted to do Cluedo card. as
Okay.
well.
Well, thank you very much for listening. Do you want to
Let's-
take us out, Patrick?
So that's bye from me.
And bye from me.
We forgot to say thanks for listening.
That was
Thanks for listening.
another long episode. We didn't mean to go that long today.
we
Mika will
need-
be banging at the door in a sec saying, we've got to go
No,
for
she
the big
wasn't
concert.
ready when we were there.
I know, but she'll be here in a sec. We had a great car run last night. That was so much fun taking the Oldsmobile out.
Except we were like one of the only people. Like there
Yeah, it
weren't
was a
many
quiet
people
one
there.
because it was raining.
And all that was, and our cousins were there.
It
That's pretty much the only
Yeah,
people
Hamish
that were
was there
watching.
from our podcast earlier.
Yes, he was actually in one of the Corvettes.
Oh yeah, it took us 10 years to do that car. I should put a photo of it on
Oldsmobile.
Twitter sometime. All right, let's go. You got a joke?
What do you get from a bad-tempered shark?
I don't know. Sore teeth.
No, as far away as possible.